Sneak your way to the top of the standings with our favorite fantasy football sleepers that'll blow up down the stretch. That's right. It's a brand new episode of the IBT podcast coming right at you.
I've been going dummy, out of bounds, putting on a clinic. Stick around, carrots in my hardware. KC, caught him in the crosshair. Look at me, been the guy calling Mr. MVP. Keep your ass on the bench by my MPC. Earn my stripes like I fix this league. Your dog's on the turf, my dog's in the street. You can find me somewhere in between. Never a dull moment like a movie scene. About to do the ops like I did this beat. Let them keep talking RG3. Coming to you live. This is the In Between Fantasy Football Podcast.
All right, and welcome into the In Between Fantasy Football Podcast, your place for both a refreshing and feel-good take on fantasy football and NFL gambling. We're officially 8 weeks in and have 9 to go to get you that trophy, and we'll help you on that pursuit in this episode of the program with our rest of season sleepers. Also, for the gamblers out there, we have our favorite future bets to make now, plus our Week 9 betting cards. I'm your host, Seth Wilcock, coming off a beautiful fall wedding weekend. Usually not my favorite time to celebrate a holy matrimony with so much happening in the sports world, but it was certainly absolutely wonderful this past weekend. Of course, I have the usual cast of characters back with me, including a man who once tied the knot all the way out in Las Vegas because that's just what big business, light ranch, and son of guns do. He's Eric Romoff. What's up, Tex?
Tied the knot out in Sin City in a fall wedding. If anyone out there is thinking about tying the knot, about making it official, please get married in the fall. It's glorious. It's lovely. Any other season is absolutely rude. But I am doing well. Nice dub in the league of record. Hung on for that Sunday night sweat against the team that had Tucker Kraft. A bit of a weird week with a lot of blowouts, so that usually makes betting a little dicey, makes DFS a little dicey. It did better in one of those categories than another, but any week with football is a good week in my book.
Yeah, a lot of blowouts, a lot of favorites covering as well. So certainly happy to hear that you got the dub there in the home league. Also that the betting card looked pretty good for you as well. Also back with us is a man who will be trading his spooky season decorations soon for the cornucopias, the pilgrims, potentially actually a direct descendant of the Mayflowers. What I'm hearing, he's our NFL and entertainment betting expert here at IBT's Boston's boy, Steve Lawson. What's up, Steven?
Oh, not too much. You know what? I'll be honest. My spooky stuff probably never comes down. This is my favorite week of the year. This is bigger than Christmas for me. I'm a Halloween guy through and through. I spent $120 on candy today to give out this year. Like it's full size bars, man. Like all day long. Like you gotta give out the good stuff. I'm psyched and I'm ready to go. I will begrudgingly celebrate other holidays, but Halloween is where my heart lies.
Hey, it makes sense, man. You're also close to Salem, where Halloween's always buzzing up there. So glad to hear you got those full-size bars. Like we talking Snickers, Kit Kats, Three Musketeers, the whole shebang?
Yeah, we got the variety packs. I usually try to steer clear of anything with peanuts too much because, a lot of kids can't eat peanuts. But like always full bar variety packs, stuff like that. Fun fact about Salem, as we found out on Popcorn and Root Beer, the police do have witches on their uniforms.
I like that.
So Halloween is a lifestyle.
Okay, well, you got one more week to soak it in, my friend. So happy you're taking a little time out of that busy Halloween schedule for us. And also on the sticks for tonight's program is everyone's favorite Yinzer, Ginger, and former IUP Crimson Hack, baby. It's Kyle Scott. Jim, what's new out there in the Berg for you this week? And don't look now, but your Pitt Panthers suddenly have life in the ACC once again.
Hey, Pitt Panthers are the talk of the town, as always, for me. But, it's fall out here in Pittsburgh. I have been drinking hot apple cider like it's my job. I can't get enough of that stuff. I'm ready to just have a great fall out here in the Berg. I don't know about you boys.
Yeah, it's getting a little nipply. I've had the wood stove running the past couple weeks pretty hard, so excited to continue doing that. And
A little what?
a little nipply, a little chill, a little chill.
Brother, there's no way that's I don't think you're using that the way you think it is.
I definitely am. I think I'm using that right.
It's pretty on the nose.
As always, though, also shout out to everyone who's tuning in to the show tonight. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy this type of content. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new. That includes Ben, who's hanging out with us as well, giving us the wave. Commercial counter 250-30. Yeah, Ben, also a great fantasy football analyst and a commercial counter. So he can tell you how many commercials on each, I think every football game or every primetime game at least. So Ben's doing the Lord's work out there. We also have Dustin saying, "What's up, fellas? How much fab should be for sub?" No idea what that means. No idea if that's a player, Dustin. So let us know. We'll get to your questions here later on. If sub is a player, or if you're talking about a hoagie, like Eric, how much fab you giving up for a good cheesesteak hoagie?
My guy, anyone who's met me in public and met me in real life knows that I'm willing to throw down on a nice hoagie, a nice grinder, a nice cheesesteak. So
yes, sir.
I'll pay above market for a good Sando any day of the week.
I love to hear that. Loved Dylan hanging out with us, Dustin hanging out with us as well. Okay, Trey Benson. All right. I
feel like we should clear out for Steve to answer this one. Steve?
Yeah.
100%.
100%.
100%.
I mean, it's probably not a bad take.
I think it depends what you have left. I'm okay with spending a little bit up for Trey Benson if we do get clearance that he's going to be back. If not, you're taking a shot here in the dark. They did cut Michael Carter, though.
At this point in the season, the waivers aren't going to get better. Like, there's not someone out there that you're like, oh,
true.
If Trey Benson's out there, you got to go get him.
Good point. Also, guys, if you want to ask us more questions after the fact as well, make sure you're checking out the IBT Football Family. That's our premium community that gets you access to our full weekly betting cards, the Discord chat, memorabilia giveaways, and entry into our touchdown contest. This is all for just $3.99 per month or $36 for the year. You also can get access to the NASCAR family, where we've been hitting some dingers over there. We also have the betting model for that. And plus, we got more sports on the way in the new year. So the link is in the episode description for that. And guys, what do you say? Should we go ahead and jump in here, not waste any more time, and hit the shore one last time for some sleepers? What do you say?
Let's do it.
Let's send it.
It's the short thing. Sleepers of the week.
All right, it's our rest of season sleepers who can potentially be fantasy difference makers down the stretch. These can be trade targets or waiver wire ads. Last year in this edition of the program, I shouted out Xavier Worthy, who was really nothing more than a bench stash at that point. He took off down the rip. We also had our former intern, Will, who shouted out George Pickens, and Eric, you were on Isaiah Pacheco, which never really saw the light of day with just him never really coming back from that injury. But either way, it is a new slate. We have a slew of sleepers coming your way. And Eric Romoff, I'm going to throw it right your way first here. Who do you have that you're thinking has an explosive second half of the season?
Yeah, looking at a guy who recently made his way back from a stint on the IR to start the season. That is Tennessee Titans running back Tyjae Spears, already well known to be the more explosive of the running back options there in the Tennessee backfield. And now, as recently as last week, has actually surpassed Tony Pollard in terms of snap share, opportunity share, and is looking better and more efficient with the ball in his hands comparatively, right? So, for me, it seems like it's really only a matter of time before he is routinely finding his way on the better side of that split and is continuing to build ground in between himself and Pollard in terms of opportunity. But a lot of that has to do with the circumstance that the Tennessee Titans are going to find themselves in. He is clearly the passing down preference among those two running backs. And these Titans, if you take a look at their upcoming schedule, are going to be looking at a lot of third and longs over the next few weeks. So should see plenty of opportunity for the dynamic Tyjae Spears.
Yeah, I'm okay with Tyjae Spears as a call here, especially, we've kind of got after that wave where I think you would probably have to acquire him in trade if you haven't already. Eric, do you still think this is a good time to buy low with a potential NFL trade deadline coming up? And hey, look, man, the Titans need as many picks as they can get. And I think there would be quite a few teams that might be interested in one Tony Pollard service.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. And the Titans have been not shy about their willingness to get in there and mix it up. Right. They said basically everyone not named Ward or Simmons is on the block. So they are open for business. Tyjae Spears finding himself in new circumstances not ruled out. Certainly neither is Tony Pollard.
Okay, well, I want to stay with the Tennessee Titans here, and I want to go to my first sleeper of the second half of the season, and it is going to be the wide receiver Chimere Dike. And I know we're all excited about Alec, man. I know we all got maybe a little over our skis about him, including myself, but can I introduce you into Dike, man? I mean, this is a former Badger who broke out to the tune of 47 receptions, 689 yards, 7 combined touchdowns at the age of just 20. And that was a time where Wisconsin still really kind of finding itself in the college football landscape once again there. He transferred to Florida. Then he posted 42 receptions, 789 yards, 2 touchdowns as a senior. Drafted in the 4th round here. Ran an unofficial 4.34 40-yard dash. I'd say that's pretty accurate. This guy can really move. He can fly down the field. Primarily, he's been running out of the slot, seeing about 50% of the snaps so far this season. But Calvin Ridley got injured this past week. We also had Tyler Lockett, who got released. And since Brian Callahan was fired, Dike has led the Titans in receiving yards in back-to-back weeks with game logs of 4 for 70 and 1, 7 for 93, plus 1 rushing attempt in each game. Played a career high 89% of the snaps last week. And the more advanced metrics also pretty popping for this rookie. Most red zone targets among Tennessee pass catchers this season, a 33% red zone target share, 3rd among all NFL wide receivers. Obviously, the Titans not getting a ton of red zone looks, but still 7th among wide receivers in design touches, 1 per game, 100% true catch rate as well, tied for 1st, and 2 yards of separation per target. That's 9th in the NFL among pass catchers. So I think there is also a chance that maybe Ridley's getting moved here as well, or maybe Dike is just this genie in the bottle that they cannot put back into it. So he might be a hot name on waivers this week, especially in a plus matchup for slot wide receivers against the Chargers. But then he has a bye, so I still think there's an opening to get invested in the rookie. Steve, do you have any thoughts on either of these Titans youngsters? Are you thinking they could also be potential sleepers down the stretch?
No, I don't. Just they could be sleepers, but they're not going to be useful ones because the Titans are kind of booty. So, the issue is they're doing fine. The Titans are doing terrible, and it'll only get worse when they start shipping assets off. You know what I mean? It's just kind of something you don't want a part of. I have Calvin Ridley in my home league, and I'm legitimately I should just drop him because what's the point of having him? It's going to once in a while he'll do what he did against the Cardinals. But other than that, we're really looking at, you're praying for the Titans to score 1 touchdown, and they're really only scoring 1. So there's just not enough, there's too many mouths to feed and not enough production to go around. Cam Ward's wildly inaccurate this season, which was a concern coming in for him. The offensive line is abysmal this year. The coaching has been obviously not great. This is not an offense I really want to be investing in. I would look elsewhere.
That's a fine take, and I think that's probably honestly how a consensus of fantasy managers and analysts feel about the Tennessee Titans. I would say, though, we do sometimes see this second half these seasons for these young teams pull it together, especially maybe after a coaching change. Maybe this is a situation where the Titans have found someone at that position, and maybe they can ship some of these veterans away and you let some of these youngsters cook. But I completely understand that take. I think it's very rational to assume that, hey, the Titans are one of the worst teams in the NFL. There's value where there's value, but maybe not something I want to rely on for fantasy. So I understand that. We got Sven checking into the night as well, saying Chimere looks legit. He absolutely does. And then Albert also saying good evening, IBT. Good evening, Albert. Thank you so much for checking in with us.
Hi,
Sven,
Albert.
great to see you as well, man. Miss you around these parts, but great to hear that you and the family are doing well. I know you're always helping us out on the socials and customer service end of the website as well, so appreciate you there. Steve, let's go to you right now, man, where you also have a sleeper and one that is coming that we already talked about here in Trey Benson.
Yeah, Trey Benson is definitely a sleeper target for me. And I think what you've seen out of the Cardinals has been encouraging, right? It hasn't been fantastic by any means. He's got one more week he's got to miss. He's got to miss this week. But there's optimism that he'll be back for their next game because this will be his 4th week out on the IR. So I love Trey Benson. He's an explosive runner. I don't expect him to come in and get 85% of touches or anything like that, at least not off the rip. But by the fantasy playoffs, this guy's going to be a bell cow running back because, again, who's his competition? There's not any. The Cardinals are a more confident offense, a more competent offense than the Titans. You probably have managers who are frustrated with Trey Benson right now because you really got him for one game. You got him for one game. He immediately gets hurt. That really causes people to tilt. And sometimes in fantasy football, you just have to be the guy who preys on someone's insecurities. And that sounds mean, but you just do. And if Trey Benson's available for anything less than a star, I'd probably be looking to make a move.
Eric, you've been someone very vocal about Bam Knight and his contributions to this Arizona offense, but you've also been on Trey Benson earlier this season as well, and we're excited about his prospects. So how do you sort out this backfield now with the Michael Carter news, and what do you think it looks like for Benson coming back? What did you see from earlier this season as well when he was up?
Yeah, make no mistake about it, right? My argument for Bam Knight was very much so rooted in a reality that there was sort of this amalgam of replacement level running backs that all had pretty similar and duplicative skill sets. And there was Bam Knight who could do something different than everyone else that was on his team, right? It was absolutely a reality of what do the Cardinals do while Trey Benson is sidelined. And now that he is slated for return, he very clearly becomes the priority back to own in this backfield and is just on an entirely different stratosphere in terms of his talent at the running back position. So I'm sure Bam Knight will spell him from time to time and see a little bit of work, but I mean, it should be the vast majority of work going Trey Benson's direction when he is healthy and able to return.
Mid, low end RB2, is that kind of the range you guys are thinking when he gets back? You'll be ranking him on a week-to-week basis?
So mid to high end RB2.
Mid to high end RB2.
Okay. All right. Shout out to Sven, also baby number 2 on the way in December. Congratulations, man. That is beautiful to hear. And also beautiful, Eric, that mustache is the Joel of Texas, is what some are saying here in the chat for you.
Yeah, absolutely. We keep it stashed out here in the Lone Star State.
I'm going to go to my next sleeper here, guys, and I'm going to take things out to your country, Kyle. I'm going Aaron Rodgers, quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers, because don't look now, but AR is QB 14, averaging 16.8 fantasy points per game. And since the Steelers bye week, that jumps up to 18.9 points per game as well. And even though the Lurs are passing at the 3rd lowest rate in the NFL right now, Rodgers is on an absolutely insane pace. He's 2nd in the NFL in passing touchdowns with 16. That's, again, with that bye, on pace for 39 touchdowns. Almost a 40 burger here from Rodgers at age 40 plus. 10th in fantasy points per drop back. 5th in true completion rate. Number 1 in red zone completion rate. Rest of season schedule includes Colts, Chargers, Bengals, Bears, Buffalo, Baltimore, Miami, Detroit, and Cleveland. So there's some tougher defenses in there. I'm excited to see what he can do against the Colts and the Chargers the next 2 weeks. But then we get the Bengals, we get the Bears, we get Buffalo, Baltimore. I mean, that is a great stretch. Miami. I mean, I'm really excited with that. And I also at the same time, maybe Omar Khan, aka the Con Artist, goes out here and acquires another pass catcher. I know we're all talking, doo-doo here on Calvin Ridley, but he would be a real upgrade at our wide receiver 2 position, running that flanker across from Dike. So, Steve, any interest in Aaron Rodgers as a rest of season sleeper, bias aside?
Bias aside, setting me up for failure there.
It's been good, man.
You need to start asking me questions I can agree with you on. Like, this isn't fair because I feel like a hag on this team here because I'm always kind of like no. And again, no.
16 passing touchdowns, dog.
I know, but he can't
8.4 TD rate.
Like, there's no running. It's all like
he is scared to get hit. I will say that it felt like
really
every time in that game.
Percentage.
Yeah, Micah Parsons. It felt like every time that he was on the loose, Aaron was keeping one eye behind his back just to make sure that he didn't get blindsided.
And can I say something kind of crazy? Is I think I'd be more interested in him going forward if they didn't add another like pass catcher that's going to demand targets. I think Aaron Rodgers is always at his best when there's one guy who gets the lion's share of the targets, and then a bunch of guys who are okay if they get it. They'll just be happy if they get one because it lets him operate pretty freely in that offense. And I think that's the way Pittsburgh tends to operate better. Certainly a team that Arthur Smith is the coordinator for. He seems to be able to get the ball to one guy consistently, and then everything else is like, I mean, listen, we're watching what happened in Atlanta happen here, right? Like it's 3 different tight ends. You never know who it's going to be. It's a mess. Like, but I don't want to rely on Aaron Rodgers at 105 years old to lead my fantasy team.
Look, I get it. I just think outside like that top 10, when you get past those elite guys and the newer guys have kind of cracked that tier, like Drake Maye, Dak Prescott, we can throw Herbo in that mix, probably Baker, Daniel Jones. But like once you get past that top 10, like who are we taking here over Eric? Let me give you a couple names here. Aaron Rodgers or Caleb Williams rest of the season?
Caleb Williams.
Aaron Rodgers or Brock Purdy rest of the season?
Brock Purdy.
Aaron Rodgers or Kyler Murray rest of the season?
Kyler Murray.
Okay, so obviously you're not that interested in Aaron Rodgers as a rest of season sleeper either.
Generally not. I do think that he will outperform where I have been ranking him, right? Like I'll be moving him up generally, but not to a point where
we've been ranking him most weeks, like where most people are in ECR, like low end, like 20s.
He's like in like the mid 20s most weeks.
But he's been way better than that.
Sure. Yeah. Those weeks can come, right? The lack of weapons is worrisome. Just as a practice, I'm not one to rank statuesque quarterbacks in any sort of aggressive fashion. But also the variability in his production is very, very worrisome, right? He has been a yards after catch merchant this year. And at some point, it's going to be very hard, or at least those receivers are going to come back to the mean in terms of their ability to generate yards after the catch, right? Like you're throwing the ball, 3, 4, 5 yards down the field every time. Every now and again, DK is going to break an 80-yarder, but also a lot of times he's going to be tackled after he gets 2 or 3 or 4 yards after the catch. And I think that is going to be the case far more frequently than what we've seen for him opening the season.
Did you see that dot to Roman Wilson deep down the sideline off his back foot? That was pretty nice. That was vintage AR right there.
No one's doubting that Aaron Rodgers has arm talent.
When these old heads just like reach back and show that they still got a little bit of it in their locker, super exciting.
He still got the fastball. Like it's not that like at least most of it. Like it's that again, like Eric said, most of his production, like his big production, is coming on a slant to DK that he's taking like absurd. Like down the field. If teams just plant a guy in the middle of the field, say 10 yards away, that's the entire answer to DK right now.
Well, also, let's not forget, like this Steelers defense absolutely cheeks right now. I mean, we finally get a freaking quarterback for the first time in 5 years, I feel like, and we don't have a defense that can stop anyone. I mean, it's just ridiculous right now with what our secondary is doing. I mean, Cam Hayward hasn't showed up. TJ Watt's been a ghost at times as well. So disappointing for what we've seen. Old. Yeah, they definitely are, but I think that just lends itself to Aaron Rodgers. I would make a bet right now that, and Eric, I don't think we have a bet yet for I don't think we have a bet yet for you owe me at least one case of beer. You didn't make it to this year's expo. You owe me one case of beer for next year. We could do double or nothing here. If you're interested, I would say Aaron Rodgers is a top 12 quarterback rest of season from this mark.
I would happily take that wager.
Or actually,
finish.
Nope, you said 12.
Can I put top 12 on the
No.
full season finish? Would you take that as well? Full season finish? He's 14 right now.
In
I'll take
PPR
that.
or like just finish, like where he ends up?
Yeah.
Finish, not fantasy points per game. Overall points.
I don't think
scored.
he's catching many passes. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. Shout out to K-Dog in the chat. What's up, K-Dog? Saying LFG. Great to see you, K-Dog. We also have Sven checking in again, saying Rodgers only 2 top 10 finishes. That is true. It's been more of that steady floor here so far this season, Svenny. And also Denise Lake, aka DD, cooking at the lake house, saying hello, boys and IBT family. Great to see you, DD. Thanks so much for checking in. Hope you're having a great fall so far out there in Idaho, I believe. I think she just made the move last year from California to Idaho. A lot of people are doing that now. It's kind of the trendy thing. Steve, are you looking to move to Idaho anytime soon?
No, I like civilization, so I'm good on Idaho.
All right. Fair enough. Let's go to Eric, who you have another sleeper for us for the rest of the season. Who do you have?
Yeah, looking to attach myself to this high-flying Colts offense as much as I can. And so I'm warming up to what I've seen out of Alec Pierce since his return from injury back in week number 6, seeing better than 6 targets per game. Obviously, we know Alec Pierce to be a 9-route merchant who is just stacking up air yards and largely running wind sprints throughout most of his career. But since returning from that injury, since week 6, we've seen him expand his route tree a fair amount. His target share and his route participation is expanding as well. So if nothing else, it's really more of a general reminder that Alec Pierce seems to be getting an expanded and more meaningful role in this Colts offense that simply can't be stopped. Easily the most schemed up and effective unit in all of the NFL through 8 weeks. So want to try to tap into that and ride the Colts wave as they set up for the stretch run.
Yeah, I love that, Eric. I mean, Steve, shout out to you because you put Alec Pierce as one of our in the scope candidates for early this season. And also then we heard from my friend over there at the Fantasy Pros Fantasy Football Podcast over on the Primer episode a couple weeks ago, Debro, who also fired him up in a couple spots against the Chargers. So very interesting from what Alec Pierce has been able to do, but we've also had a lot of injuries here, right? Like we've had Josh Downs missed some time. It feels like we've had Michael Pittman on 100%. So do you think Alec Pierce can kind of continue the stretch run and be what we all thought he could maybe be when he was a second-round pick coming out of the Cincinnati Bearcats program?
Yeah, I think he's showing it. The issue why Alec Pierce has never really exploded at the NFL level is because he's been hurt, right? Like he kind of gets hurt a lot. Also, when I'm getting the credit on this show for the picks I make, I don't like to share my credit with anybody else. Keep that right with me, okay? I don't want to share that spotlight. No. Because you know what? When I'm getting blamed, when I'm being told that I don't know anything, no one else is jumping in to like take that from me. So when I'm right, I don't want anyone else getting a participation trophy. I will take my ball and go home. No, I like Alec Pierce a lot. I am really excited at the prospect of him being the new running back for the Tennessee Titans. That's really exciting to me.
Yeah, sorry about the graphic, everybody. Little mistake on our end there.
That is just fantastic. But no, I think he's always been someone that I've been frustrated to watch his career because he's good when used outside of running wind sprints, right? Like outside of those 9 routes, like he's good at deep ins, slants. Like he has the speed, he has the size, he has the strength. Why not use that, right? Like he's a faster, in my opinion. Like he could be a faster, slightly less talented Michael Pittman.
Well, and it's funny too because it really feels like Shane Steichen is just in his bag right now, and Alec Pierce is finally getting to show that off a little bit.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
unreal.
And the finishes haven't been like crazy, but since week 1 here, and keep in mind, one of these games he left early with an injury as well, but wide receiver 43 finished 22, 46, 34, 41. So a lot of wide receiver 4 days, a lot of wide receiver 3 and 1 wide receiver 2 days. So he's at least been serviceable for sure. So Eric, I like this call a lot. Also, I like here in the chat, Didi, shout out for the $20 super chat. We appreciate that so much, Didi. Thank you so much. That goes to all the great things we're doing here in IBT, the events we're putting on next year, all the stuff in the back end that keeps us powered. So thank you for that. We really, really appreciate it. And Steven, why don't you go ahead and round us out with your final sleeper of the second half of the season? Who do you have, my friend?
Yeah, I'm going to stick with the running back position and go Kyle Monangai over there in Chicago. This is an eye test kind of thing for me at this point. I know his opportunities is going up. It's turned into a more even split with him on the field. But for me, it's just you watch the game. Swift looks fine. He's solid. But Monangai just has a little bit more wiggle, I guess. Like he's just able to do more with less. When a play isn't blocked particularly well, I rely on Monangai and trust him more to get me a few yards. Swift, if a play isn't blocked well, it's not going anywhere. He's not able to get himself somewhere new, which is strange because I think he's faster on field.
Absolutely.
But it's a vision issue, and vision is so important at the running back position, and Monangai is fast enough to get it done. I like Ben Johnson will run 2 running backs, right? Like that's what I trust too, is that he knows how to do that. He knows how to make them both productive. And we saw both of them be productive now for 2 weeks in a row. So I'm very comfortable rolling Kyle Monangai out there rest of season, or at least having him on my team and seeing just buys will happen and you'll need to slot people in. I'd feel pretty comfortable starting him in a flex.
It's interesting, Eric, because we have the big game against the Saints from Monangai, 13 for 81, goes for the score. And then last week does get fed against the Ravens again, sees 7 touches, only go for 24 yards. So, and DeAndre Swift, for as much as like everyone wants to wish him away, I think it was Frick last week who had him as the sell candidate. He's just been so solid, dude. That's like, I do feel like Kyle Monangai is in that David Montgomery role, but it's like a David Montgomery light role, which I just don't know how much upside is there unless something does happen to Swift.
It's obviously easy to draw comparatives to what Ben Johnson did when he was with the Detroit Lions. I do think that in both regards, these are kind of watered down versions of the Gibbs Montgomery roles in the offense. Since Steve wants to recall, or at least call back the times where he's been wrong, please play back the tape where he was flaming me for suggesting that Kyle Monangai might eat into DeAndre Swift's workload as we were heading into draft season. Look, I think there's going to be enough opportunity for both these guys to eat. Swift is a little bit more of the stable floor kind of guy. Monangai is going to sort of swing and ebb and flow based on games where they're leading or games where he gets that opportunistic touchdown carry or at least goal line carry.
Okay. All right. Well, guys, I appreciate all the sleepers you brought to the table today. Let's go ahead. We're going to shift gears here in the program. We're going to get into some betting with first our futures and then our week 9 betting cards in between bets. Let's lock in for that.
Between bets. Between bets.
It's week 9 of the NFL season. And while the weeks are slowly starting to tick off here, I wanted to once again explore the futures betting market. I think it's always important to make sure you're staying pat here, but also still building your portfolio at the same time, because I don't know if you guys were like me. I was feeling pretty good. I had a long shot gainer with a nice cash out already on my Cam Scattaboo 200-1 offensive rookie of the year ticket. Well, that's gone now. Same with my Malik Neighbors, 50-1 offensive player of the year ticket. Same with what's looking like my Vikings division tickets. So as we lose some of these tickets, it's important to build back, but build back wisely. So let's do so in the futures betting markets. And Steven, I'll turn it over to you first. Where are you looking at getting invested here at the midpoint in the season, my friend?
Yeah, I'm going to the MVP market. And as much as I'd love to make Jonathan Taylor my pick, I just don't really trust the voters to give it to a running back at this point. So I'm going to go with a bit of a dark horse, Drake Maye for MVP this year. I know that Allen and Mahomes are flashier, but I don't know if anyone has better efficiency numbers right now than Drake Maye in terms of throwing the football.
It's true.
He is on an absolute heater. And the great thing about this is his schedule is, I think, the easiest in the NFL rest of season. So it's like historically bad, the teams he's playing against. It's beyond bad. I mean, like the Browns were legitimately middle of the road teams that they will play the rest of the seasons because they still have the Jets to play twice. They still have the Dolphins to play again. They still have the Bills, whose defense is absolutely terrible, to play again. Like, this is a very easy schedule. And Drake Maye, with Josh McDaniels at the helm on the offense, is thriving in a way that I'm so shocked at. And it's his third down passing that is really getting it done, to the point that it's becoming like a weird thing that he's beyond elite on third down completion percentage and has now broken or tied Tom Brady's record for most games in a row as a Patriot with 100+ passer rating. I mean, he looks the part. He's not throwing interceptions. He's rushing well. He's putting up points with a team that, and that's the thing, is the other thing he has going for him in the MVP conversation is no one thought the Patriots would be any good, including me. I thought they would be absolute like garbage. I'll own that I was wrong about the hometown boys. This team is taking the league by storm, and sometimes the narrative is more important than the stats to the voters. And if they could quickly crown an heir apparent to Patrick Mahomes, I think they'd very much like to do that and have Drake Maye be that guy.
I mean, it's very possible. And to your standpoint and efficiency, leading the league right now in passing completion percentage, 75.2% is a great number. Also right up there, leading the way as well in passing and passing rating in general. So this guy has been on a heater. I saw him open up this season at 60-1 in the offseason. I thought about taking a nibble on it, and I regret not doing so. The interception rate's low. It feels like everything's clicking right now. He's fitting balls into spots that, I mean, you can't see 4 or 5 year pros do, right? I mean, 15 passing touchdowns, 6 in the NFL right now. I do like Drake Maye. I like everything he's been doing. I have him on almost literally every fantasy team. I continue to try to back the Patriots where I can in the betting markets as well. But 5-1's pretty short here, Eric. 5-1's a short number for him here. But, you know, for anyone,
that's the one downside of it.
Yeah, for anyone not named Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson, one of these absolute studs. We also have JT having a great year. I just don't know if I can bite that bullet here on Drake Maye. I love the kid. I just don't know if I can get invested this late. I feel like I missed the window.
I think that's a bit of sunk cost bias. All told, 5-1 for the way he's playing, for his set of circumstances, for his average supporting cast, but also some of the kind of subjective factors like voter fatigue and New England Patriot bias, right? Like, there are a lot of things that, for my money, on merit, Drake Maye should be one of, if not the favorite to win it. But then also several things that are working in his favor that should help him put together some positive votes. So in turn, if you're going to get him at 5-1, it's a lot better price than you're going to get for him in 2 weeks' time, or 4 weeks' time, or in 2 months' time, right? So go out there and, if you believe, happily take your 5-1.
And Eric, you're taking a player in the award market that is actually half this price at plus 250.
Yeah, this is probably why I'm in favor of taking Drake Maye at 5-1, because I'm going to make a case for Myles Garrett for the defensive player of the year at 2.5-1. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw him posted with negative money out there, given, for my estimation, how much of a clear favorite he should be, right? So, I am always a bit skeptical of tying up my money in futures propositions, but now that we're at the midway point of the season and there's good value here with Garrett, who is coming off of a 5-sack game to now tie the NFL lead with 10 sacks on the season. He's on pace, if he can merely break through in one game, to break the record for single season sacks.
Yeah.
And you also have sympathetic voters out there that feel bad about a guy of this talent and this caliber being stuck in and arguably wasting away his career with the Cleveland Browns. So if he can hold this pace, I think he will be clearly the favorite. Again, 2.5 to 1 isn't great, but I do think it is a number that is going to be continuing to get slimmer and slimmer as the weeks go on.
Is this a 2-horse race right now? Is it him and Micah Parsons?
It's him and no one else.
I mean, look at the odds, though.
From an odds
Parsons?
standpoint, it's him and Micah Parsons. From a merit standpoint, it is him and no one else.
Do you think it's just Micah Parsons coming off that huge last week performance and everyone's just kind of steaming up here? Is that what we're thinking? It's also just like the narrative, like F. Jerry Jones here a little bit too?
Yeah. It's the recency bias. It's the fact that he was the splashiest trade that we can remember in recent memory, right? Like, people are very much so watching and waiting for him to do well. And also it's the fact that the Packers are a marquee franchise and the Browns are a dumpster fire.
Yeah, it's true.
Can we just for a second about Myles Garrett, can we stop with the whole like, oh, he's stuck in Cleveland? I feel bad for him when he got drafted. Like, brother, you could have gotten out. You know what I mean? It's not like you had any reason to believe the Browns were turning this around.
Yep,
you signed,
I agree.
They threw a bunch of money at you. You said, I want out. They said, we'll pay you. And you went, okay. And now you're like, I don't like that we don't have a winning culture. Brother, they've never had one. Not for 1 second, not for 1 year. What do you mean?
No, I agree. I don't think Eric himself was pitying him, but I think he thinks the NFL media and voters will. And
yes.
I do agree there will be a strong sort of them that will. And I'm not one of those. Well, I'm not a voter. I don't think I will ever be a voter.
I don't pity any guy who's making like $1 gazillion for anything.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
But go play your game. Go play your touch football. Like, go score a touchdown and make your money. Like, I don't care. Like, if you win or lose.
For me, in the futures market right now, I don't think there's a better place to look. And yes, there's some hometown bias here, but I'm seeing some value on Tyler Warren, 6 to 1 on ESPN Bet to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. He right now is going as low as 4 to 1 at other books. So I think 6 to 1 at ESPN still is a great price. I thought about this last week. I was still glad to see it here. The other favorites are currently Jackson Dart plus 105 and Emeka Egbuka plus 180. Dart, he might struggle here down the stretch. Like, Cam Scatterbo was the heartbeat of that team right now. He's got upcoming matchups against San Fran, Chicago, Green Bay, and Detroit. So I like it against Chicago. I don't know how I feel about a San Fran team who just got ran over. They're seeing a rookie quarterback. Green Bay's had a good defense. Detroit's up and down. But I think also as more tape gets out there on the kid, opposing defenses are going to see, like, while I saw a couple weeks ago him go through multiple reads, this last week it felt very much one read and go again, right? If it's not there on the first passing read, I'm going to take off my legs. I think maybe he gets caught up. I think maybe that number expands once again, and anyone taking right now Jackson Dart, that number is not going to be happy. And Emeka Egbuka, his recent game logs right now, one, I think he's obviously injured. That's led to this, but also the game logs recently, 2 for 24, 4 for 58, 3 for 35. That does not sound like an offensive rookie of the year. Meanwhile, Tyler Warren on pace for 79 receptions, 1,046 yards, 9 touchdowns, 9, count them 9, boys. And also in terms of all-time rookie tight ends, that would put him 3rd in receiving yards, 4th in receptions, tied for 3rd in touchdowns as well. Warren's currently leading all tight ends in receiving yards. Next closest players to him in that category, old man Travis Kelce, Tucker Kraft, who's already been hurt, and Trey McBride, who has to deal with Kyler Murray coming back and Call of Duty being released here in just about a week or two as well. So for me, I think if Tyler Warren goes out there and leads the position in receiving yards, he should very much be in consideration here. He's only had 2 games under 50 receiving yards. And also, he's playing on a 7-1 Colts team that is in first place at the AFC and should, I think, finish with at least 11 wins at the least. So I'm all in on Tyler Warren here at 6 to 1. I think it's a great number, Steve.
I know you do. And I know you love Tyler Warren. I like the number, but this is Jackson Dart's category to win. It's not close. And the odds makers agree, right?
Tough schedule coming up, man. Tough schedule coming up.
The 49ers are not a tough
Cam
matchup.
Scadaboo's going to hurt that team, dude.
Cam Scadaboo was 3.5 yards per carry. Okay, that wasn't a good player. Like, I know he was like tough, but like he wasn't a good player. And like the narrative around him, it's like, oh my
He was
god,
a
what are they
good
gonna do
player.
with this
He was an
impact
awesome player. He was a great player.
What he
did in the pass catching, what he did it for pass blocking as well, and what that guy did for the locker room
Tyrone
morale of
Tracy
it.
is the better running back of
No,
those
he's
two
not.
guys.
No, he's not.
He is.
No, he's not.
He's
No,
just
he's
a
not.
more efficient runner and a better pass catcher. So it's just going to be another weapon for Jackson Dart. But I know it's his friend, and I feel bad for him. Blah blah blah. So. But Jackson Dart in that offense, like the Packers aren't a good defense. The Niners aren't a good defense right now because everyone's hurt. The Packers just gave up a gazillion yards and a gazillion points to Aaron Rodgers, who's 150 years old. Like, I like Jackson Dart the rest of the season. I don't think now Tyler Warren has a way to this. I will say this. He has to break one of those records, though. He can't come in third, fourth, and third. He's got to be number one in one of those. Either yards, catches, or touchdowns. He cannot finish third and get this. He just can't.
Eric, your take here on Tyler Warren, and I don't even want to revisit it, but that is maybe Steve's worst take of the season, that Cam Scadaboo is a worse running back than Tyrone Tracy. But your thoughts on anything there?
I think it's like a middle of the road take. Cam Scadaboo is a better running back than Tyrone Tracy, but I don't think that he is as good a player as the amount of attention that he was receiving, because he's a very fun player, and he was very good for the game and for fantasy football. I love your Tyler Warren take here. I think the price is right. I think the opportunity is in front of him. Steve's point is bang on. If he breaks any of these records, he is going to be in the thick of that conversation very, very quickly. I also wouldn't mind, like, if he's getting there, it's probably on the back of a pretty prolific Danny Dime season. So maybe a little sprinkle, maybe a little mini step ladder where you parlay him up with a Daniel Jones MVP and get some
or comeback player of the year.
Odds.
Well, can Danny Dime?
They won't give it to. No, you can't do that
because it's injury now. It's got to be only injury.
Now.
Yeah, you're right.
Only injury.
It's only
after
injury.
Joe Flacco stole it from the guy who died on the field. May we never forget. Jeez.
Yeah. Well, that's why they changed it. Like, legitimately, it might as well be called the Joe Flacco
that
rule.
moment.
Yeah. All right, well, guys, I love the futures look ahead here. Let's get to our Week 9 NFL betting cards. And again, a quick reminder, the easiest way to support us here on the channel, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy this type of content. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new. And if you want more of us and our full weekly betting cards, be sure to check out the IBT Football Family. That gets you access to the giveaways and to our Q&As in there. Everything in the Discord app, including the picks and predictions and the touchdown contest. So a great way to get involved with us over here at IBT. Now let's go ahead and fire it up here. And I want to start in the total market where, Eric, you have a duo of totals that you're liking to go over this week. What do you have?
Yeah, tapping into the total markets, like you mentioned, like a couple of overs. The first are my Houston Texans going against the Denver Broncos. The total in this one set all the way down at 39.5. I like this one to go over by a fair margin. Really a two-factor consideration here. One, the Broncos have been setting the world on fire in terms of what they're able to do on the offensive side of the ball over the last few weeks. But also they are going to be without reigning Defensive Player of the Year, Patrick Surtain, for 4 to 6 weeks with a pectoral injury. So the Broncos should be able to run up the score, and the Texans have a greater opportunity to match pace with them. I think that they blow past this number pretty readily. You can get it over -110 from our friends at FanDuel. And then going to the exact opposite end of the spectrum, from one of the lowest totals to one of the highest, the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs going over 50.5 points. That is a -115 price tag over at DraftKings. A lot of this has to do with recent history, right? These two teams always find their way in an absolute slugfest where they are trading touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. A lot of that also has to do with recent form, where both the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills have not been shy about running up the score and haven't been able to limit their opponents as readily as they have in seasons past. So I think this one sets up to be an absolute scoring bonanza, and they'll make it well past that 50.5 total.
Steve, you've been making your hay every single week in the totals market, specifically targeting overs. And your first one of 4 is you tailing Eric and getting a little squad ride action going down there in Houston.
Yeah. I like the Texans and Broncos to go over 39.5. Again, this is the NFL. And for the most part, games go over 40 points. Like, that's the norm. This would be abnormal for them to score 39.5, less than 39 points. You know what I mean? Like, that's a really low number. And I don't like to bet on anomalies. That's like the one thing that's how I don't try to chase kind of crazy stats, right? Like, I've heard this line. I think I've used it on this show, but I'm not sure. You'll never go broke taking a profit. 39.5 is a number that I am comfortable. If they don't hit it, you know what? Great job, defenses. Like, I applaud you. In today's NFL that is built for offenses to score, I'm counting on this to go. Like, that's too low of a number for me. I'm perfectly fine taking the over in that situation. I will say this about my spread, like my over-under picks, because I do this every week, and I have been doing well with it. And this has been my approach, because you're about to see a bunch of numbers that I've given. The number that I look for is that 44.5. That line, that number, is usually the number that I'm like, I want the over on that, because 21-21 is a score that I'm pretty comfortable assuming teams will get to. And then it's just a game-winning field goal from there, right? Like, they have to score somehow, and I'm not going to count on a safety. So I basically put in my back pocket that they will score 44 points. And then I just try to bet from there.
Okay, and you have a couple at that 44.5 number that you're going over, starting with Atlanta and New England.
Yeah, so again, 2 offenses that are actually pretty good, contrary to what we saw the Falcons do this past week, right? And even if the Falcons offense doesn't bother to show up again, the Patriots offense has been scoring like gangbusters. Like, they're putting up 30 points a game. So all I'm asking out of the Falcons is competency, right? I don't know what the word is on Penix. If he gets marked healthy, if he gets the okay to go, I think this number is going to go up. And that's the other thing you got to chase, is you got to go, hey, listen, word on the street is they're getting Michael Penix back. Yeah, they looked awful. Kirk Cousins isn't an NFL quarterback anymore. Like, we can just be real about it, right?
Sure.
He looks bad. He has no zip on the ball. That Achilles injury took more than just his mobility away, which he already had basically none of to begin with. This is a number that is going to go up throughout the week. This is an offense that's red hot in New England. The Falcons, when Michael Penix plays, is a pretty explosive offense outside of like one game against the Panthers that got way away from them. But they seem to be figuring it out lately. So I'll count on that over pretty easily.
Okay, and then also Carolina and Green Bay and the Saints and the Rams are also expecting to go over that key number of 44.5.
Yeah, again, 2 defenses with Green Bay and Carolina, not very good, right? Like, they're not good against the pass, and that's how people score. Green Bay, we just saw them light up the Pittsburgh Steelers for, I forget what it was, but 30-something points. Again, if they're able to do that, all you're asking for is that the Carolina Panthers don't want to be shut out. Like, and teams never do. They never want to be shut out. So they will like go and score garbage time touchdowns and try way too hard, and they're down by 40. It doesn't matter. So like you're chasing that, right? I know Green Bay's the better team. I expect this to be a blowout. I'm counting on it. I'll bet on it. As for the Rams and the Saints, again, I'm counting on the Rams to blow the doors off of New Orleans here. Like, they're getting Puka back. That offense is looking better and better every week. That team is good. The New Orleans Saints, I'm worried about Tyler Shuck being, himself. Like, that's worrisome to say the least. But again, they're professional football players. They're not going to get like a 0 put up on them usually. Usually you won't see teams get totally shut out. So I like this number. This is the one that I'm probably the most nervous about, given the Shuck news. But again, it's that 44.5 number that I'm like, you know what? I can stomach that.
Okay, Eric, take us to the money line market where you have, or ATS plays where you have 2 ones that you also like.
Yeah, looking at the Carolina Panthers currently getting 12.5 points at the Green Bay Packers is the -105 ticket over at DraftKings. Some of this is just a functional consideration. 12.5 points is a ton in the modern NFL. I also think that we're going to be looking at the potential return of Bryce Young, and more importantly, the turnover of this backfield to Rico Dowdle, where it's going to be a far more run-centric scheme, a playbook that Green Bay is familiar with. And I think ultimately it's going to be a much more competitive game than a 12.5 point spread might indicate. I'm also looking at another underdog here, the Cincinnati Bengals getting 2.5 points versus hosting the Chicago Bears. -110 is what that'll cost you over at DraftKings. Look, the Cincinnati Bengals have been playing competitive games basically since Joe Flacco got into town and had more than 3 days with the playbook.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this could very well be a 1-point game. The Chicago Bears are a significant and legitimate roller coaster ride week in and week out. So this should be a scoring bonanza and one that should come down to potentially a last-second field goal. I like the Bengals getting 2.5 in this matchup.
Let's move to player props where I've got 5 of them for you. I'll give you 3 off the top here, and then I'll let Eric jump in with 1 as well. Let's start out with Blake Corum over rushing yards. I absolutely love targeting running backs in games where teams are heavy favorites, and that's exactly what the Rams are here, laying 14 points at most books on the Saints. The Saints have allowed, tied for the 3rd most receiving yards in the past 2 weeks, 152 per game to the wide receiver, or to the running back position, rushing yards, not receiving yards. 7th most in the past month as well. And instead of going with Kyren Williams here, who hasn't been great at cashing props, I am going to go with the RB2 in this backfield here in Blake Corum. BP projections right now, putting this at 20 flat. So if I can get anything around that 20-yard range, even if it's an alt, I'm going to smash that. 5 points, 5 out of 7 times hitting this line this season is Blake Corum. Recent game logs for running backs 2s against the Saints, including Sean Tucker last week, 12 for 42. Kyle Monangai, 13 for 81. Travion Henderson, 9 for 27. And even Devin Singletary in a game where we didn't have everyone active for the Giants. He was 6 for 20. So I love Blake Corum this week. I also love Jackson Smith-Njigba going over his receiving yards. Everyone saw what the Chiefs and Rashee Rice in particular just did to the Commies on Monday Night Football, right? Over the last month, Washington has allowed the 4th most receptions, the 3rd most receiving yards to opposing wide receivers, 171.5 yards per game. JSN, it's a historic run right now, folks. I mean, this is a guy who's looking to potentially win Offensive Player of the Year, averaging 7 receptions, 117 yards per game for the former Buckeye here. And I'm going to go after the receiving yards line, as he's now averaging 16.8 yards per reception. He's hit this line in 6 out of 7 games. So give me JSN on that. I also take Rashee Rice over 6.5 receptions. I'm already down 3 units on this, plus 118 at FanDuel. We're getting this plus money here, boys. And you know how I like to drink the juice, but the props have opened for Kansas City, Buffalo. So I'm on it like white on rice right now. I appreciate the books opening that up on Tuesday. We usually don't see prop lines for those Sunday games until Thursday, Friday sometimes. So Rashee Rice, the past 2 weeks since returning from that suspension, 10 targets, 7 receptions, 42 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And then he backs it up with 9 targets, 9 receptions, 93 yards, and a touchdown as well. And those were games with pretty low totals. Kansas City was in a pretty positive game script. They now have Buffalo, and Isaiah Pacheco was healthy in those games. We don't know if he'll be up for this one. The 3 most recent teams for their wide receiver ones against the Bills. Oh, yeah, Tedero McMillan, 10 targets, 7 receptions, 99 yards. Drake London, House 16 for 10 and 158 sound. And then Stephon Diggs, 12 targets for 10 for 146 as well. So wide receiver ones have been mowing down the commies right now. So I'll go ahead and take the Buffalo Bills to once again get mowed down by Rashee Rice here on the reception line. So I'm going to keep Rice going strong there. I'm also going to keep Jackson Smith-Njigba and Blake Corum to go over their totals. Eric, what do you like for player props this week?
Yeah, looking into one prop in particular, I was hopeful that it would be posted by the time we were recording. I haven't found it anywhere quite yet. That is Justin Herbert's rushing yards. I'm happy to go over that figure probably wherever it's going to be posted at. Over the last few weeks, it's usually in the high teens or in the low 20s, and Justin Herbert has been absolutely smashing that. 62 yards last week, 31 the week before. A little bit of a dud, 2 against Miami, 60, 24, another 31, another 32. Justin Herbert has been cutting this thing loose with his legs this season to the point where he's actually the leading quarterback in the NFL at 6.7 yards per carry and is seeing a 18.8% carry share in this backfield. So in this week in particular, one more with Kamani Vidal, Justin Herbert is going to be the second ball carrying option yet again. And I like him to go over what's likely to be a low 20s line when it's eventually posted.
Okay. I'm going to go back to that Chiefs game. Give me Khalil Shakir over 4.5 receptions. We've seen several above-average slot wide receivers take advantage of the Chiefs this season. Keenan Allen, 7 receptions. Zay Flowers, 7 receptions. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 9 receptions. Khalil Shakir, while he's not elite, I think he's very above average right now. And his last 3 games against Kansas City in particular, he's averaging 9.3 targets, 7 receptions, and 53.3 receiving yards per game. His lowest reception total in that span is 6. So I'm perfectly okay with drinking the juice on a line that has hit in 64% of his games since the start of 2024. Caesars right now, if you open up your Caesars Sportsbook app, not affiliated with this show, but they have a 1-unit 50% profit boost available right now for any market. So that took it from this minus 143 juicy line we were getting all the way up to plus 105. So I have a unit down on that. And also rounding out here with Colston Loveland over his receiving yards. This is slightly conditional, folks. This is more if Cole Kmet is out. That is where I'm going to run here. So I don't have this one bet yet. It's not even out there, but
rough picture.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Not the best. Not the best look for Colston Loveland, but still an absolute stud potentially. And Loveland ran a career high 81% of snaps with Kmet out last week. Saw 5 targets and has 3 straight weeks with a red zone target. Caught 3 for 38 yards last week. BP consensus line right now coming in around 32.5. And the Bengals, they've allowed 7 out of 8 tight ends to hit that mark this season. Brenton Strange way back in week 2, the only tight end who did not. So give me a little Colston Loveland. Again, so I'm going to go Colston Loveland, Khalil Shakir over 4.5 receptions, Rashee Rice over 6.5 receptions, JSN over his receiving yards mark when that's out, Blake Corum over his rushing yards mark, and then Eric, you are also going with Justin Herbo over rushing yards. So, gentlemen, let's go ahead and let's pull up the touchdown call contest leaderboard and see what's going on out there right now with everyone. And I gotta say, next year we are changing the rules so you can't go under minus 200 because Jonathan Taylor felt like a cheat code last week. He got 3 touchdowns, and it caused many people to rise up the board rapidly. Trav, not being one of those guys, though, found 2 touchdowns last week. One of those coming from a tight end in Hunter Henry. I can't believe who else Trav had, but a good week for Trav to stay on top of things here. Rob and James, they both went JT. They got themselves 3 touchdowns there. Steve, I give you credit, man. You didn't take the cop out there. You went with James Cook. I did as well. We both got 2 from him, and you got another one as well last week. So congratulations on that. You're now tied at the top of the board with 13. Eric, you have 10 here, trending upward still. Trash and Jake stalling out a little bit at 9, and then Ben bringing up the rear at 7. And our old pal Joe Frick last week couldn't even get on the board. So it's tougher than it looks, folks. And Eric, we're going to start out with you. You're trending up here. What do you got for us in week number 9 for the TD call contest? Again, you can win yourself a sweet plaque from our friends over at Dynasty Decks, one of the best partners we've had the pleasure of working with. They have all your needs from whether you're doing basketball tournaments, whether you're doing golf tournaments, whether you're doing fantasy football leagues, and you want to honor the winner. And if you want to own that fantasy football dub for the rest of your life, do it with Dynasty Decks. So, Eric, let's shout out to you and get to your TD calls, my friend.
Man, I would have been the beneficiary of a no minus 200 odd or greater rule, as Bijan Robinson left me holding the bag last week, trying to get back onto the straight and narrow this week. I'll start with my longer shot going to the other side of the spectrum. Plus 260 is the price tag you can get at FanDuel for my guy, Jordan Addison. Another anytime touchdown wager, one that I cashed last week for those following along in those Discord streets. Think this is going to be a pretty electric scoring environment with Minnesota and Detroit this week. Jordan Addison absolutely has a nose for the end zone and is taking full advantage of the defensive attention paid to his teammate, Justin Jefferson. So like it on the touchdown call, like it at plus 260 as well. My second call is a bit speculative in nature. It's not posted because Nico Collins is currently working his way back from a concussion suffered 2 games ago. The timeline is there to where it's reasonable to expect him to return. We will find out as practice reports come out tomorrow. But when he does ramp back up, and if he is available, he will likely be a minus 105 or 110 odd to score an anytime touchdown this week against the Denver Broncos, the Patrick Surtain-less Denver Broncos, which means that he will be running against the turnstile that is Riley Moss, one of our favorite guys to target over in the wide receiver cornerback matchup streets.
Love it, man. And shout out to our guy Tony in the IBT football family. I know he parlayed, I believe it was your anytime touchdown with Jordan Addison with the Chargers against the spread last week on Thursday Night Football. So yeah, good job out there, Tony. Good job, Eric, leading him the right way there in primetime. For me this week on the touchdown calls, give me Colston Loveland anytime touchdown plus 250. Again, we already talked about it. The Bengals, they've been terrible against tight ends. They have allowed 8 touchdowns to tight ends in the past month alone, folks. That's at least 1 in each game as well. Loveland has had a red zone target in 3 straight games. I think he capitalizes here, finds the end zone for his first time in his young career. Also, I will take Jamar Chase on the anytime touchdown, minus 125 at Caesars. The Bears have allowed the 4th most touchdowns to wide receivers this season. Every elite wide receiver they faced have found the end zone. Amon-Ra found it 3 times. I would also say George Pickens without CeeDee Lamb is borderline elite. He found the end zone. And Justin Jefferson, all the way back in week 1, found Pater as well. Chase didn't score last week, but currently with Joe Flacco, he is averaging 18 targets, 12.7 receptions, and 115.3 receiving yards per game in 3 Flacco starts. I'll likely already have his receptions line on the card as well, but I'm also going to take a unit or 2 play here on the anytime touchdown. Steven, over to you to round us out, my friend.
Yeah, I'm going to say that Bijan gets right this week. Give me Bijan Robinson anytime touchdown.
Much better price this week.
Yeah, I like it. And I think he's just going to come out playing angry, wanting to show the world that, like, basically just shut up a bunch of people. I think New England is a good run defense. I don't think they're, like, as good as their numbers are showing right now. But I think he'll be able to find holes aplenty. And then I'm going with a guy who I really don't want to rely on. But I just, you know what? Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. will find his way into the end zone. He has been targeted there quite a bit for this Cardinals offense. The jump ball potential is always there. As Eric likes from quarterbacks, he likes quarterbacks who throw it into the end zone. I like wide receivers who are thrown to in the end zone. So Marvin Harrison Jr. seems like a pretty decent bet to get 2 feet down and control the ball for 3.5 hours as per rule in the NFL in order to complete a catch. So I like Marvin Harrison Jr.
Okay. Well, gentlemen, great stuff tonight. Wow. Really love all the betting plays. Also love what you came for in the sleeper streets as well. That is going to do it for us tonight on the In Between Fantasy Football podcast. If you rode along with us this long, please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed this type of content. Also, make sure you subscribe to the whole channel. We've got fantasy football, NFL betting coverage coming your way, college football betting, NASCAR betting still ripping, PGA betting, which will be back in the spring, and of course, entertainment betting, all to help you cash more and to enjoy the ride along the way. Also, be sure to check out inbetweenmedia.com for some dope written content. Also, hoping to have some event drops here within about the next month or so. So be tuned in for those as well. For my friends Eric Romoff, Steven Lawson, and Kyle Scott, I'm Seth Wilcock. Thanks for watching, and keep it in between. Until next time, y'all.